Which aero bike is fastest and who has the fastest aero bike? Is it Mark Cavendish, Peter Sagan or John Degenkolb? We want to find out. So we've come to Derby Velodrome and assembled 5 of the leading models available on the market to perform some aero testing in a scientific controlled environment. Our lineup for the test is the giant Propel SL0, which is ridden by Giant Sunweb and Tom Dumoulin. We've next got the Canyon Aeroad CF-SLX, which is ridden by the likes of Tony Martin and Alexander Kristoff. We've also got the Cervélo S5, which is Cav's bike and needs little introduction. We've then got the specialised Venge Vias, which is ridden by Peter Sagan and Marcel Kittel, Cav's biggest sprint rivals. And finally, we've got the Trek Madone, which is ridden by Trek Factory Racing and John Degenkolb. Now, inevitably, some of you are going to ask, why have we picked these 5 bikes and not, say, the Bianchi Oltre or the Pinarello F10? Well, the short answer is we only have so much time and we can only do so much with that time. But if this video is popular and you like what you see, then there's a good chance we'll be able to come back in the future and test some of the other bikes against the data we've got here today. So to help us perform the aero testing, we've actually got Dan Bigham, National Pursuit Champion from WattShop, who is going to help us interpret the power data and record the power data as well by riding very smoothly around Derby track. So what are we going to do, Dan?
So we're going to test each bike in 3 different positions. So we're going to be on the hoods, we're going to be on the drops, and in an aero position on the hoods we dropped elbows. We're also going to test each bike with a bottle on the down tube, as obviously that's pretty important. You've got to ride with a bottle if you're racing. Yeah, a bottle can
be quite significant as well.
Yeah, it can be pretty huge. So yeah, each one's going to be ridden at around 45 kilometers an hour, aiming for around the same power, but the software accounts for any variations in power and velocity and acceleration.
So if your power's slightly higher on one bike compared to the other,
yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as we're reasonably consistent, that's what it matters. Keep around the same velocity and yeah, we can account for the rest.
So we're going to record some other variables as well, such as temperature and air pressure and humidity.
Yeah, so air pressure, temperature, humidity. So from that we can calculate the air density. So that's prior to each test run. And we also weigh the whole system mass before each test run as well.
So Dan's also riding on the rollers so that we can calculate the rolling resistance for the tyres on our fast forward test wheels. And he's actually going to record the power and we're going to be able to calculate the rolling resistance that way. And this is going to be useful because it will be factored into the calculations when we're measuring how aerodynamic the bikes are. So I guess that means you've got to get in your skin suit and you've got to get out on the track. We've got to find out which is fastest.
Do some watts.
Let's do it. What I'm doing now is just putting a bottle cage on the bike. I'm going to put the same bottle and bottle cage on each bike. Different brands, when they make their aero claims about how fast the bike is, some base it on a bottle being there and some base it without. So this will tell us, hopefully, which is the fastest and if the aerodynamics suffer at all by putting a bottle on. So now we're just setting up the specialised Venge Vias, and the next one to go is the Madone. And we'd expect this one and the Madone to be fastest, just because logically the brakes are hidden and the cables are all hidden as well. And they're a more modern design. They came out in the last couple of years, so you would think that these would be faster, but I guess we'll find out. So, Dan, the results. Who has the fastest bike? Well, first, let's do it in the position. So,
okay. So the slowest bike is the Giant Propel. Noticeably, in all 4 positions, well, 3 positions and with the bottle, it was slower from anywhere from, if we have a quick look at the data, from 30 watts even on the hoods versus the faster bikes.
So, not good news for Tom Dumoulin if he's in a breakaway.
not at all, fortunately.
Okay, so how did it perform in the different positions and with a bottle and without a bottle?
So in the different positions, it was improving just like all the other bikes were. So hoods to drops was a good improvement in the CDA, and then from the drops to the aero position was again a good gain. So we were sort of saving 10 to 20 watts from each progression. The bottle itself was 2 watts worse, but then if you look at the Propel, it's not quite designed around it with the down tube. Although there is a bit of a flat profile on the trailing edge, it's still not a perfect shape.
So with the bottle, it was a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So just riding on the hoods, one number. What are the aero watts required to travel 45 kilometers an hour on the giant Propel?
Giant Propel was 343 watts on the hoods.
Okay.
On the drops was 332. In the aero position was 298, so a good gain there from the drops and the hoods. But then with the bottle was 300.
Okay, so just 2 watts slower with the bottle. So next, what is the next slowest or the next fastest bike?
So next up was the S5, the Cervélo S5.
So Cav's bike.
Cav's bike, yeah. It was a really nice bike to ride. I did quite like that, and felt quick. The numbers were a lot better than the Propel. So on the hoods, you're around 310 watts. Going to the drops was 308. Going to the aero position was 281, so it was a good gain there, and you could notice that riding around. And adding the bottle on saved half a watt, so within about repeatability. So it's well neutral for a bottle, which is quite a good thing. I mean, you're always going to race with one.
Yeah, and Cervélo have actually said when the bike came out, it's a few years old now, that design, compared to some of the others we've got, but Cervélo did make a point of, when the bike came out, saying that frame had been designed with a bottle in mind, because it does get wider, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got that flared profile around the down tube.
Okay,
yeah.
So what's next?
Yeah, so between the Canyon Aeroad, the Venge and the Trek Madone, when you're on the hoods, the Canyon was slower than the other two, so 307 watts there. That was the slowest. We went down to 295 being on the drops, and 281 being in that aero position. And it actually saved 4 watts putting the bottle on, which is a little bit of a surprise. The profile doesn't seem to be all that well designed around a down tube bottle, but it seems to work.
It's worth knowing though, if you've got a Canyon Aeroad, you're doing a TT, put a bottle on it, it's faster.
Yep, that was good. Then yeah, the close battle was between the Trek Madone and the Venge.
Clash of the Titans.
Indeed, yeah, they were significantly different bikes
Sargent's
to ride.
bike, Degenkolb's bike.
Yeah.
Who's got the fastest bike?
Very, very close. In fact, on the hoods, identical.
Right.
301 watts, nothing between them, spot on. Yep. On the drops, Venge 300 watts, Trek Madone 299.
Ooh!
So very, very close
very
there.
Close.
However, the difference was when I got into the aero position, where on the Vius was 286 watts, but on the Trek Madone was 279. So a good 7 watt saving there. I personally would put that down to the ability to get in and hold that aero position. The bar shape was quite interestingly different on the Vius versus the Madone was very flat and easy to get into that position.
Yeah, because the Specialized has its Aerofly sort of riser bar, which is a little bit strange if you've never ridden a bar like that before. It's quite a lot different to the others on test. So. Yeah,
and the wrist position just felt not natural. And as bikes, they rode very, very differently, which is quite an interesting one. I loved the ride on the Madone. But then, yeah, the bottles was the big discrepancy actually. So putting one on the Vius saved nearly 3 watts.
Okay.
But then on the Madone, it lost 4 watts.
Right.
Which is very, very surprising.
Yeah, I think we should point out a few other little things, such as the Specialized Venge Vius. That was designed aerodynamically as a system to work with Specialized zone brand wheels, and to be fair, the Trek was probably designed with the Bontrager wheels as well, so it can mean that when you swap out wheels for a different brand, that it's not an optimum system.
Especially the Revals, they're a much wider wheel. I think they're 30 millimeters wide, which is crazy in comparison to most. So yeah, if it's been designed around those wheels, but unfortunately we've got to be consistent.
Yeah, we can only test so much. And the other thing is that the Canyon Aeroad did cheat slightly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we tried to get the bikes in as similar position as possible to each other, but the Canyon Aeroad's handlebars are actually 41 centimeters wide, whereas all the other bikes on test were 42. So that slight narrowing, do you think that made
Yeah,
a
it
difference?
can. Yeah, it's something I've seen in testing that a narrow handlebar can definitely help. It's a good thing to reduce your frontal area. So yeah, that 1 centimetre or so can make a noticeable difference.
You can make a couple of
Yeah.
watts difference. So yeah, so that's just worth considering, just in the, and we're just
Yeah.
saying this just to be transparent about the data. So right, to conclude, which rider and team have got the fastest bike?
Just about. John Degenkolb, Trek Factory Racing.
There you have it. There you have it. If you want the fastest bike, get the Trek Madone.